Today we are going to discuss software engineering, the introduction to software engineering. And first of all, this software engineering word is composed of two words, software and engineering. So what is a software? Software is a computer program to solve a given problem. So that's very simple. About software. You use all the Android apps and Windows applications. These are all softwares. Now the question is, what is engineering? This is somewhat confusing word, and your degree is actually the bachelor in computer science. So you are actually a scientist. You are not engineer, but you are studying software engineering. So you should know what's the difference between software and engineering. So to understand the difference between software and engineering, we take examples from everyday life. In everyday life, you hear a sentence like, "What is the science of this behavior? What's the science of this problem?" So from this everyday talk, we can conclude that science means something logical theory. So in everyday life, we use a word of science in terms of logical theory. So science is a logical theory, and the person who presents this logical theory is called a scientist, and he not only presents a logical theory, but scientists also try to prove it. And so what's the engineering? So we also take a everyday example about engineering. This word is used in a situation where you have to say like that we do not have this solution available, so we have to re-engineer this solution, or we have to do some engineering for it to create this new solution. So from that everyday talk, we can conclude that engineering is something like designing a new solution. So here the focus is on designing and new. So from this you can conclude that science is about logical theory and engineering is about solutions using that logical theory. So this example can you may say make it more clear, like this is science. There is some scientist who is trying to balance this object on this glass, so he is finding some balance point. But this is engineering. There was some engineer sitting around, and he thought that he is actually trying to connect this object with the glass. So he came up with a simple solution. He tied it with a tape. So engineering is all about making solutions. So for those solutions, you definitely use the concepts of science and your own creativity, but its focus is solutions. So you can say that science is about fundamental concepts and engineering is its applications. But there comes a very important point to be noted, and that point is, what about this person? He's a mason who is building a home, but can we call him an engineer? No, we cannot. We call it a craft like mason, woodworker, auto mechanic. These are all practical workers, but these are not engineers, because they copy their work. They do not design a new solutions. They just implement the design. So those persons who just implement the designs can be called skilled labor, but these are not engineers. And this guy is an engineer because he is designing a new solution. The focus is on the new and designing. So whenever you design a new thing, then you are an engineer. When you copy the previously built things, you can be mason, woodworker, or an auto mechanic, but you're no more an engineer. And lastly, what about commercial production? Commercial production is like, it's also copying the same object again and again, but in a mass production way. So again, it's not engineering. There are hundreds of skilled workers doing job in a specific field, but they are just implementing the designs. And finally, technology. When you use the concept of science to create new products for the benefit of mankind, those products are called technology. So that was it about software engineering. Stay tuned for next videos.